All right, let's get right into it. We talk a lot about the unique pressures women face in society, and for good reason. But what happens when that script gets flipped, even for a moment? Today, we're going to dig into this really fascinating idea from our source material, shared burdens. And really, this is the question at the heart of this whole thing. What actually happens when you step out of your own experience and into the kind of pressures that are usually shouldered by someone else? It's so much more than just a thought experiment. As you're about to see, it can totally change how we see each other. You know, it's like society hands us all these invisible scripts filled with unspoken rules we're just expected to follow. For women, that script often pushes being nurturing, collaborative, and emotionally open. And for men, it's all about being the provider, being competitive, and, yeah, being emotionally stoic. These aren't just little suggestions. They shape our lives in very, very real ways.
Okay, so let's take this idea and see how it plays out in a place we all know pretty well, the workplace. Or as we're calling it here, the professional gauntlet.
Seriously, just take a second and actually picture this. Every single success, every failure at your job, it isn't just about your career. It's a direct reflection of who you are as a person. Your paycheck isn't just money. It's a scorecard for your value. Now, for a lot of guys, this isn't some imaginary world. It's just daily reality. So we've all heard this kind of advice, right? It's pretty much standard career coaching for women who want to get ahead. Speak up, be more assertive, network, lean in. And this advice is there to help women overcome very specific, very real barriers. But here's the thing. That's only one side of the story when it comes to workplace pressure.
Now let's flip the coin. The pressures on this side are different. It's not just advice on how to succeed, but this crushing expectation that you have to succeed, period, with almost zero room for struggle. The message underneath it all is loud and clear. Never, ever show weakness. And if you fail, you'd better handle it on your own. Okay, let's shift gears from the boardroom to the bar. We're about to dive into what's often called the dating marketplace, and we're going to explore the very real costs, both emotional and financial, that can come with trying to find a connection.
Think about all the layers of pressure that are traditionally piled onto men, especially in early dating. First, there's the fear of rejection just for asking someone out. Then there's the financial weight of paying for everything. On top of that, you're expected to drive the conversation and constantly prove that you're worth it. It's basically like a job interview that you also have to pay for.
Wow, this metaphor just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that emotional load. A no isn't just a no. When you feel like your fundamental worth is being judged, rejection hits hard. And unlike a bad day at the office you might vent about with your friends, this is exactly the kind of emotional gut punch that handle it alone script forces you to process in total silence.
So we've laid out these two very different sets of pressures. But here's where it all comes together. What happens when women start experiencing these same things? What happens when they become the primary breadwinner, or when dating norms shift and they're the ones initiating, planning, and paying? And this brings us to our final and honestly our most important section, building the empathy bridge. This is where walking in those other shoes leads to something pretty incredible. Our source material calls this a perspective shift. It's that aha moment, that, oh, now I get it feeling. When a woman feels the crushing weight of being the sole provider or feels the repeated sting of rejection while trying to date, it's not just an isolated bad experience. It can be a direct, visceral insight into a pressure that many men live with all the time. It builds a bridge to the male experience. And I want to be super, super clear about this. The goal here is not to start some competition over who has it tougher. That is a race to the bottom that nobody wins. The whole point is this. It's about dropping the scorecards and starting to recognize that a lot of these struggles, even though they're packaged differently, are fundamentally human. And that's really what we want to leave you with. If we can just acknowledge that these invisible scripts can hurt everyone, and that the burdens of performance, of providing for others, of rejection, are often shared, well, how does that change the way we talk to each other? How does it change the expectations we put on ourselves and on the people we care about? That's the conversation that sharing these burdens might finally let us have.